Poul's Kitchen. Today we're going to be doing Korean BBQ wonton soup. Look at this. Doesn't this look really good? We got homemade wontons. We got our homemade barbecue sauce / soup. Amy, take a small little bite and tell me what you think. Really good?
Really good.
Is it really hot? No, but it's got a nice taste and texture?
Yes.
Awesome.
Definitely.
So please hit that like, share, subscribe button. Watch Amy fill her mouth up. Surprise, surprise. And please tune in. Kitchen. Today with me is my lovely, awesome wife, Chef Amy. Say hello, Amy.
Hi.
Today we're going to be doing a Korean barbecue style dumpling dish. And I know it sounds a little weird, but it is what it is. So here we got some chicken that we've already chopped up. So obviously this little chunk of chicken is going to be a little bit of a pain in the ass to put into a dumpling, which is rather small. So we're using a meat grinder. Now if you don't have this, you can actually use a blender. There's lots of different toys you can use for it. Children, do not do this at home, please. And I'm going to get Amy to stay on this side, please. Alright, so obviously my cheap grinder is not going to work so well. So, off to the trash this goes.
It's working.
It cracks.
Oh!
Chef Amy didn't notice that. And that's fine. It's first thing in the morning. I don't think Amy's had her coffee yet, so we can forgive Amy on that. We got something there, so we're just watching a video and they're talking about, you know, is it worth to pay for a $400 blender or
meat grinder.
And I'm starting to think, well, you know what, maybe the answer is yes. So I want to get this started early because marination is probably one of the most key and most important components. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to take and give it a really rough chop and make it as small as I can, because obviously I'm not going to be able to get it the way I want it, and that's perfectly fine. I'm not too upset. It is what it is, but it can go in the trash. It's a little disappointed, but I'm going to try to salvage as much as I can out of this because it's chicken, and yeah. The whole idea is to get the chicken out there and as minced up as we can humanly possibly get it. And then Amy will give us a quick rinse because, you know, raw chicken and all. I've got a little bit of use out of it, so it wasn't like a complete waste or anything, but still, I'm a little disappointed. But what we're going to do is try to get this as small as humanly possibly can. because these are going in wonton wrappers. And we go to cook this. Not going to take very long because it's not like we're talking about really big pieces of meat. Now in this, we're not using any hot spices because we don't have any jalapenos left right at the moment, which kind of bites, but it is what it is. I'm not going to send Amy off the stores to get jalapenos. I think Amy would probably get a little upset with me over that one. Wouldn't you?
No.
No? Okay. Maybe I'll make it, but probably not.
No, we don't need them.
It's Sunday and we're probably, just want to have a nice rest day today. But I really want to do this for Amy, and you know what? I want to share this with you guys. So, notice how my chicken is, being cut down pretty thin. It's been defrosting overnight. Now, when you cut this is all going into the sink. We're not going to use this cutting board for anything else until it's been cleaned. And why is that, Amy?
Contamination.
Yeah, and what exactly can happen?
Could get sick.
It's called salmonella poisoning. That's what I was trying to get her to say. And Amy knows this. She's very smart when it comes to this kind of thing. She's, like I said, she hasn't had her coffee yet. It's pretty early in the morning, so we'll give her a little bit of a break. But it's not that she didn't know. She really does know, and she's be the first person to sit and yell at me and growl at me for trying to do it. And she's good like that. I'll sit and say that she's overprotective, but in reality, she's the best thing that's ever happened to me because she'll stop me and make me see common sense. But it's when you're dealing with chicken, it's very, very important, especially chicken or any any raw meat at all. Period. You got to show that respect too, because if Amy sat there and put her hands in and started eating it, there's going to be a problem. Amy's going to be sick for the next couple of days. And when we're talking about food poison, I'm telling you, it's really nasty, bad food poison at that. It's not just a little sick, it's really sick. So, you gotta really wash yourself on that. So you cut this off really, really good, and I should be a little upset my meat grinder is gone, but I got use out of it, and it's already paid for itself, so I mean, it's not too big a deal. If I buy another one, I'm not going to buy a cheap one. Just a word of warning, guys. If you guys shop on Amazon, be careful you're not getting cheap Chinese stuff. It is cheap, but you get what you pay for. So unfortunately, a lot of their stuff is cheap and not really good quality. Alright, I'm going to put this into the sink and wash my hands really quick. I'll be right back in 2 seconds. Amy will sit there and show you all that. Now, and I'll get Amy to go to the other side now. Now, one thing I would normally do on here is I would be putting some ginger in here. And I'm going to tell you, we'll put that in the sauce, but we're not going to put that into the actual meat. We're going to put some rice vinegar. And I'm going to tell you why we're not going to do that. There's an enzyme within the ginger itself that helps break down meat even more than it already is. Now, we do want to break this down, but where this is going to be marinating for quite a while, maybe an hour or two, I'm not sure how long we're going to let it sit out, but we're going to let it sit for quite a while. And when we do that, it's going to have, and that's pepper by the way, by putting the ginger directly in there, it's going to break it down to such a level that it's going to be even more broken than we want. And we don't want that. I've got a little bit of avocado oil in here. I'm going to put that in here. And at the end, we're going to mix this up, and what's going to happen, Amy's going to find a container, and she's going to put this in her fridge. I'm going to tell you, put this in the fridge for about an hour. Just to let her, and this is sesame seed oil. You can get toasted. I'm going to say not to, Now, my secret ingredient we're going to use in this is called truffle oil. However, I'm not going to put this on until we're done cooking it. And yes, we are cooking it. Why? Because that's what we're going to do. Cooking yes, it is going to be, you can call it deep fried. We're doing air frying. It will cook things, but it's not, when we're dealing with raw chicken, we want to make sure it's actually cooked all the way. So we're going to cook this before. Our veggies, and this is going to be cooked 100% before it goes in. Once these are cooked in the air fryer, we're going to come back in here and we're going to make our sauce, which is going to be stalled after Korean barbecue, but it's mostly geared to, you know, whatever you probably have in the house. It's not going to be perfect, so if you're Korean and you're watching this, please don't make fun of me, because it's not going to be perfect, and I get that, but it is what it is. So we're just giving it a good little mix. She's either going to wrap this or put it in a container or whatever, and this is going in the fridge for at least an hour. And see the stuff that's in the sink? That is not going to be touched for any reason until that's been washed very thoroughly. It's chicken, you got to be careful of it, it's important. So we'll be back when we're ready for the next step. Welcome back. So our chicken's been marinated. I've got some onion here that's been sitting here cut up. I've got my cast iron pan heating up. We're going to give it a few minutes to heat up. I'm not going to add any more spice to it. It really doesn't need it. And we're going to cook this chicken up. Again, because of the fact that it's cut very, very small, it's not going to take a whole lot. Now again, once this bowl has been put in there, it's going right in the sink. Why? Because it's already been used and we can't use it again. As much as Amy would like to.
Not.
So we got some extra virgin olive oil. We're heating that up here. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to put the onions in here. Now, as for the onions, I've got them cut down as thin as I can, because this is part of our stuffing that we have for our dumplings. Now, onions, as they heat up and they're being cooked, they will reduce. So it doesn't seem like a whole lot right now, so we're going to let this start to cook. Not a big deal, it's not going to take a whole lot. I've also got rice cooked here, it's already done, so that's going to be a part of it too. We do have rice from yesterday, but there's corn in it, and I don't really want any corn in this. Amy kind of likes corny things, but we run an IRC script. It's an old, very old chat program that was made in the late 80s, believe it or not, and Amy and I have been using it since the 90s. Amy will sit and laugh, and anybody who doesn't understand this, I have a little script set up in hers that I can talk through. So if you join us in IRC, you can join up in all the mental anguish that Amy has to go through via me, because I've messed with her quite a bit. I'll make Amy say some pretty weird things that it's me saying it, making her look silly, but it's not Amy saying it. I'm just being funny. So what we're going to do is we're just going to start cooking this. And it's starting to go pretty good now. It's starting to heat up. It's cast iron, so I mean it doesn't take very long. So now we're going to stick the chicken in here. Where does this go, Amy?
In the sink.
In the sink, that's right. The only reason I keep emphasizing this is I don't want any of my viewers, especially if someone's not used to cooking at all, that they realize and they learn right away that chicken is not to be played with. It's very, very serious. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure this is really well cooked. At the end of the day, this is going into the air fryer, so in all due honesty, it is going to get cooked a little bit in there, but it will not cook fully unless you put it in for like 25-30 minutes, and then it will cook, but our dumpling wrappings will burn. So it's important that this is cooked first. That way we can put the dumplings in for 10 minutes. It's enough to heat things up and to brown the dumpling and cook the dumpling properly. However, it will not burn. So take your time and cook this. You don't need to add any more spice. If you're going to add anything, pepper. You don't need anything else. No, we already used it. Everything that we want for spice has already been put in. So it's been marinating in it for at least probably about 2 hours. So I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me cook, because cooking chicken is kind of boring to watch. But it's very important that when this is done, that you really make sure that everything's very well cooked. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put in a bowl to let it sit for a little bit. And that's what we're going to do. So we'll be back when this is all cooked so you can see this. And this doesn't take long, so I mean, I don't even think it'll take 10 minutes, to be honest with you. But it's just, again, very, very important to make sure everything cooks all the way through. So we'll be back. Welcome back. So I'm going to get Chef Amy to come in here. We turned the oven off a little bit. We had some other things we had to get done, so we're just filming this now. You'll see the chicken is nice and it's done, right? It's all white, and that's really important. And Amy and everybody else that knows a lot about chicken will tell you, when we cook this, when we put this in the wrappers and we put it into our air fryer, and that's what we're going to use because it's a lot better than doing deep frying. When we put this in there, if you cooked the raw chicken and put this into the wrappers and you put it in the air fryer, you can probably cook it for 20-30 minutes. You think, Amy?
Yeah.
And it will cook. But the problem is the wrapper will burn. I don't think that's going to taste very good. Do you?
No.
No, not at all. So we're going to cook this. We cook this the whole way through so that when everything cools off, we put it in a wrapper and then we put it into the air fryer. We're only going to need like 10 minutes, 5 per side. And then it'll be done, and then we can proceed to the next step, and it's going to taste really good. Now I wanted to I'm going to start putting this in here, and I just wanted to touch on something I just started seeing a little bit of a trend on, and that's Spam. Amy, have you ever had Spam before?
Yeah, it's gross.
Yeah, and one of the reasons that Amy will say it's gross, and she's not wrong, if you look at the salt content, and there's a reason for it too, by the way, it's not just to make fun of it, but there's a lot of salt content because it's labeled something that can last for years. What did we read last night, Amy? Was it 5 or 6 years? Something like that? Yeah, 5 or 6 years, something like that. You physically cannot have food sitting in a can to last for 5 or 6 years without having salt. Why? It's something that cures your stuff. Now, I mean, I've never had it, but considering the amount of salt, I'm not allowed to have it, so I've never had it. But Amy, did you find it was really salty?
Yes.
Did it have much flavor?
No.
No, I didn't think so. You know what, guys? Here's the thing. I got really offended. I'm Canadian. Bacon is kind of almost religious to us. Don't be sitting saying something's better than bacon, because we're not going to be happy about it. With Spam, you have to use a lot of grease, and then you have to do a lot to get rid of the salt content as much as you can. It just seems like too much work for something called, fake meat product that has no flavor. Bacon, on the other hand, has tons of flavor, and yes, again, I'm not really supposed to have it anyways, but you can get turkey bacon. I mean, Amy, what do you think about turkey bacon?
It's good.
It tastes good, doesn't it? Yeah, it's turkey bacon is really, really good. So what we're going to do here is we're going to leave this sit out for a little bit. I'm actually going to put it in the fridge. It's not too important that it's going to be hot. That's really not important because when we're done with the wontons, it's going into the air fryer, and then we're going to make our sauce right after too. So when the sauce is all there, it's going to heat up again. So if you sit and you take this out of your bare hands in the wontons,
you're gonna burn yourself. It's gonna hurt. Like, Amy wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. My mom probably would, because mom's not a cook. Amy will tell you stories. So will I. But this is the best thing to do for it. Is just basically let this cool down, and then we'll move on to the wontons. These are pretty cool, right? Now, somebody asked me a little bit earlier is, well, what other products would you use? I wouldn't use beef. It would be a little bit too strong of a flavor. I like chicken myself, but you can also use pork too. Pork works well. Honestly, I'd stay away from beef. Turkey, chicken, pork, maybe even lamb would be alright. Not sure about lamb, but probably be alright. If you want a vegetarian, you can use other things like tofu. Not a big fan of it myself, but you can use veggies and stuff like that. So when we're ready to start with the actual making of wontons, we'll be back. Welcome back. So we got our filling right here, and then we got some wontons, and I didn't really realize how much we were going to get, so we're probably not going to use half of it, but we're going to try.
We can save them though.
Probably, yeah. So I'm using a small spoon because we really don't need a whole lot. These are wontons, and yes, there's usually a little bit more veggies, but there's a reason for my madness. We don't really need to fill it up, because you know what? If you fill it up, it's just not going to work well. It's just chicken and onion.
And spice.
Oh, yeah, obviously spice. I do have a special dedication to this family, or to this video, and I'm going to give that in a minute. I'm going to take the camera away from Amy. She's not going to be too happy because Amy's not exactly the most photogenic person. I think she's beautiful, but Amy being Amy is not a person who likes to be on camera very often, but there's a reason for this, and I'm not telling her why, but she'll figure it out sooner or later. But Amy has a special message that she'd like to share. And yeah, she doesn't know what it is yet, but we had a special, I don't know what to say here. We had an event this weekend, and I'd just like to share it and give my condolences and give a special dedication to this video for a certain family who means a lot to me, but means even more to my wife. So we're just going to take this, and yeah, we're going to get messy, but that's what Amy's all about.
Not.
See, sometimes people don't always understand why I like to crack jokes on my videos, and the reason is I want you to look at my kitchen, I want you to look at me, and I want you to see that I'm being real. I mean, look at me. Look at my kitchen. It's not perfect. It really isn't.
No.
But you know what? You look at my wife, you look at me, you look at our surroundings. This could be you. It could be anybody. We're not trying to look perfect. We're not trying to look like we're the perfect happy family. I can be a jerk sometimes. Amy can be a jerk sometimes. I can be goopy. Amy can be goopy. Amy can be absolutely retarded. So can I. We both do. It's just, it's real life. I want you to look at what we're making, and I want you to not to think, oh, I can never do this. I can never learn how to cook, and I can never be creative. Amy had the attitude that she can't be creative and she can't think of what to do on certain things. I think that since when Amy's been with me, she's realized that that's not true. Amy is very creative, and Amy can think of a lot of things to do outside of the box. It's not because Amy's stupid, it's just her personality isn't the super creative kind. And there's a lot, and not everybody is. It's not bad, it's not means or wrong, but we're not all creative. And that's just the way life is. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I don't want people to think that there's something wrong with that. There just isn't. But sometimes it takes a little bit of time to get over that and to think about, how to get over that and how to think about it. So I'm going to take the camera here, and I'm going to apologize to my wife.
Give me a minute. Alright.
Amy's grandmother passed away this weekend, and we'd like to dedicate this video to her family. Amy, tell me a little bit about your grandmother.
She was an amazing woman. She'd do anything for anybody. And the hugs she gave, I'll never forget those.
I'll never forget the day I met them. I mean, their grandmother and grandpa, they're Dutch. They're Dutch-Canadian. They've been to our place several times, and I'll give you this story. We're living on one side of the city, and Amy didn't know they were coming. It was before we got married, actually. She had no clue. So she's sitting here in a rocking chair facing the TV, not even paying attention to anything. And I think maybe she thought I was going out for a smoke or something. It's gone a little longer than what they thought it would be, and here they're coming up. And
no, Grandma didn't come. Mom did. That was Mom and Sarah that time.
And your grandmother?
No, Grandma didn't come.
No?
No.
I thought your grandmother did.
No.
Because we all went down to Pier 21.
That was a different time.
No, it wasn't. It was there.
No.
I'm telling the story the way I remember it. This is the way I remember it.
Mom and Sarah and I went wedding dress shopping. So that time wasn't Grandma.
It was Grandma, and I'm telling the story the way I remember it. But they came in, they shocked Amy. I think Amy jumped like a foot off her chair. I met these people, and they were like some of the sweetest people in the world. And if you know me, you know I'm an orphan, and I absolutely hate the family concept. It's not me. It's not for me. It was never meant for me, and I'm not comfortable with it. So when people walk by and they call me brother, I'm not comfortable with that, because if I don't know you, and if I'm not ready to say it to you, then I'm not comfortable. I'm an orphan. Amy's a family person. That's the strongest thing for Amy. And I'll tell you, Amy's family as a whole have done nothing but make me feel like a part of the family, and I'm forever in debt to them for that, because they're that awesome. I met her grandmother and I met her grandfather. Her grandfather's been gone for a while, but I wanted to speak Dutch to them the first moment I met them, and I don't speak it that much. I learned that from my best friend growing up. I would have rather them drop me off at her grandparents and just hang out with her for days. Wouldn't matter. They were just some of the most awesome people in the world, and I'm really sad, I'm really upset with it, but I'm technically not family per se.
Yes, you are.
Not the same thing. I'm an in-law.
Doesn't matter, you're still family.
But I didn't get raised by them, right? So that's the big difference. Amy, on the other hand, was raised with them, and she known them her whole life, and my heart-filled condolences goes out to the whole family. Even my father-in-law, because he would be an in-law to her too. He's been there. He's spent a lot of time for her, and this woman was one of the most amazing people you'd ever meet. So, Amy, my condolences. Sorry guys, I had to get that out there, and this video is dedicated to them, because honestly, they're some of the most amazing people in the world. So we got our dumpling, and this is just a bowl of water. Nothing special, not ice water, just lukewarm water. And we're going to fill this like this. Now we don't want to go all the way around, because water on water isn't going to work too well. Now I'm not too fussy on making these look perfect. As far as I'm concerned, they don't need to. That's enough that we're going to close them. We're not deep frying this either, by the way. We're totally not. So we're going to take a few minutes, and when I say a few minutes, it's probably going to take us forever to do. Does that look like a good dumpling to you?
Yes.
No, it really doesn't. It looks gross. It looks ugly. It don't look great.
But it'll taste good.
But it'll taste good, and it's what we need, right? So, and we're not deep frying this either, guys. We're putting this in the air fryer. Now, the reason we cook the meat, and this is very important to anybody who may not understand, the reason why we cook the meat first is if we started frying this and we wanted to make the meat cooked the whole way, it's going to take about 30 minutes at least to get everything perfectly cooked. Now, the meat will cook and the meat will be fine, but the dumplings themselves are going to burn. So that's really not a great thing. Now, if you happen to be Chinese and you're watching this, please forgive me. I know this doesn't look perfect, and I get that,
We don't make dumplings usually.
This is my first time making them, and maybe next time I'll make them look a little prettier, maybe. But this is, like Amy said, this is the first time we've done it, so I'm doing my best. But the reason that we're doing it this way instead of the cooking is because we want to be able to put this in the air fryer for a total of 10 minutes, just to
Brown it up,
make the dumplings themselves cooked, but not undercook the chicken, because undercooked chicken sucks.
But the chicken's already cooked, so we don't have to worry about the undercook.
Yeah. Now, being dumpling wrappers, these are a little different. I'm not used to this, so I know I'm probably going to mess some of these up, and that's fine. We're not making wonton soup or anything like that. And I think you'll be a little surprised by what's made, but it's going to taste really good. We'll have what we need, and I'm going to have a stunning feeling we'll be able to set some in the freezer, so we won't need them all. But, I mean, how is this? I mean, does this not look simple?
Yeah.
It's time consuming, because this is why it's good I have a wife. I can make her do the rest.
Really? I think you do a better job of it, though.
No, I think you could do this. It's not hard. Amy doesn't always recognize or accept the fact that she's a very important part of our show, and I'd like you to drop some comments and tell me what exactly you think of my wife. Be nice. Please be nice. But let her know that she is important, because you know what? Sometimes we need to hear that. But that's it. We're doing half the wrapper in water. Water in water is just going to slide off, so it's not great. If we're deep frying this, will probably be a whole lot messier, because it's probably not going to close perfectly, and that's fine. But once it goes into the air fryer and it's all cooked, I'm gonna get exactly what I want out of it. And I probably got 2 wrappers in some of them, but that's fine. If I was making this perfect, I would probably have some green onions and some other veggies in here, and that's fine. But when I get to my version of the Korean barbecue sauce, then you'll see it. So I'm going to do a few more, then I'm going to let you go, and we'll come back, because this is going to take a few runs in the air fryer to get them done, because can't overfill the air fryer, by the way, because it's like doing it in deep fry. If you overfill, it's not going to cook properly, it's not going to cook evenly, so you want to make sure you're not overfilling, and if that means you're doing a few more runs than you really want, then oh well, it is what it is. I'll do one more, and then we'll take a little break from filming, and you guys can wait until we're done. So far, it smells really good. What do you think, Amy? How's it smell?
Smells really good.
I mean, I could totally have made this properly the way that you'd expect it to be made with all the veggies in it. However, with that being said, with what we're planning to do with it, you're not going to taste it as much as you would if we were just making wonton soup, which we're not. So it is what it is. So as you can see, we got a lot of work to do. So we'll be back. Alright, so we got our dumplings here that Amy's been helping me with. So we're not done yet. We still got a ton more to do, so we're going to be here quite a bit. So first off, I'm going to line my air fryer. Now it's very important that you don't overfill, because if you do, it's going to be a pain. I've already greased the bottom of it with avocado oil. Use whatever type of oil you want, really doesn't matter. But avocado, extra virgin olive oil, they're more healthy for you, right? And we're going to do this for 5 minutes, turn them over, and then another 5 minutes, and we're gold. I think that's about all we need here.
Yeah.
Because, again, you really want to be careful here. So, I'm going to take, I already got some oil on here, and I'm just going to brush.
You should put in a bowl.
Oh, this is fine.
Okay.
I'm going to take a little bit from there. We're just going to brush it. And again, when you do this 5 minutes per side, it's fine. If you want to deep fry, then you can figure that one out on your own. We don't deep fry. I'm not going to deep fry, but that's it. So we're going to turn this on. We're going to let this cook for 5 minutes per side, take them out, and then we're going to set them aside. So we'll be back when we're done this batch. Alright, so we're back now. We had a little bit of a camera issue, so hopefully our battery will be a little bit more lifelike now. Alright, so we got that in there. Now I'm going to use some fresh mushroom spaghetti sauce. Why? Because it's technically a barbecue sauce, and it does have a ketchup base, or pardon me, a tomato base, so I got to have a little bit of that in there. Give it a little bit more substance, because this is going to be more than just a sauce. It's actually going to be a meal. So it's not going to take a whole lot longer to do this. So we're mixing there, and we can see that as we're mixing this, it's actually starting to get some really good color to it. So now I'm going to dump some more sauce in here. So we got some more soy sauce. And then I'm going to put some pure sesame oil. We don't need a whole lot of that. And then some rice wine, and then a secret ingredient that Amy absolutely loves.
Yeah, look at that. Looks good.
It does. We're going to use a little bit of truffle sauce. Don't need a whole lot, just a little bit's fine. Now we're watching our favorite prank video, Pranksters in Love, I think that's who it is. And John was making a special egg roll for his wife. And it had dog hair and cat food in it.
Yuck.
I thought it was funny. Amy thinks I was going to make that more sweet, but
I'm glad he didn't.
she actually kind of wishes I did, but
Not.
open up.
Mmm.
Now we're going to put some wontons in.
Mmm.
Just going to put nothing in here. I'm not sure what we got.
Probably put a few more.
Yeah. Now, you gotta watch out because it's gonna start splattering over the place, so you're probably gonna have to clean the walls a little bit. Amy doesn't mind, she loves cleaning.
I always have to clean the walls after he cooks. And take apart the stove.
Alright, so that's about all the wontons we need. And just to give a little bit more substance, I got my secret weapon right here. It's called rice.
And that's a full meal.
Now, is this perfect Korean? No. I know it's not, and I gotta try a little bit. Oh, that is good.
Mmm.
It's a little hot for me, but
Spicy hot or?
no, just hot. I like food cold, not really that hot.
True.
You can always make more rice and put more rice in if you want, but I don't think this will be a very heavy meal either. It'd be more of a soup with the wontons, but this is my take on Korean wonton soup. That's what I'm going to call it. But I mean, it looks pretty good, don't you think?
It looks really good.
It'd be really filling. I think it will have a lot of substance and a lot of stuff to it. So I think it's going to be great. So I'm going to turn the heat off, and we're pretty much done. We'll be back in a little bit, and we'll do a plating. Welcome back. So here's our wonton Korean soup. It's not exactly a soup. It's not exactly just barbecue sauce, but it's got the sense of the Korean. It's got the wontons, and I'm telling you, it's gonna be really good. I hope you like it. Please hit the like button, share, subscribe, and we'll see you soon.